You tell yourself you'll keep it light this time. Just normal conversation, nothing too personal. And then, somehow, you're explaining your childhood, your fears, your relationship history. On the way home, it hits you. Why did I say all that? You weren't trying to impress them. You weren't even trying to vent. So why does your mouth move faster than your comfort? Oversharing doesn't usually feel dramatic in the moment. It feels relieving, like pressure being released. You're sitting across from someone new. There's silence, or worse, small talk. Your brain scans for connection, and instead of building it slowly, you jump 10 steps ahead. You offer something vulnerable, something raw. For a moment, it feels powerful. You think, now they really know me. But later, alone in your room, you replay every sentence. You feel exposed, unprotected. You start managing the damage in your head. Did I make it weird? Do they think I'm unstable? Why can't I just be normal? This pattern doesn't just affect conversations, it shapes your identity. You might see yourself as too much, too intense, too emotional, or you become the person who bonds quickly but struggles to feel safe afterward. This isn't random, it's psychological, and it starts with how your brain defines connection. You're not broken. Oversharing is not a personality flaw, it's an adaptation. Your brain learned that emotional depth equals safety. At some point in your life, being fully known might have felt like the only way to secure closeness. So now, instead of slowly building trust, you try to create it instantly. It's not attention-seeking, it's attachment-seeking, and your nervous system is simply trying to reduce uncertainty. But the way it does that creates new uncertainty later. Why? To understand that, you need to see what your brain is actually doing. Your brain hates ambiguity. From a cognitive science perspective, uncertainty increases activity in the amygdala, the threat detection system. When you meet someone new, your brain asks, are they safe? Do I belong here? Silence feels like risk, so your prefrontal cortex, the storytelling part of you, steps in. It offers personal information as a shortcut. Here's the metaphor. Imagine connection as a bridge built plank by plank. Oversharing is like trying to drop the entire bridge at once. Fast, intense, complete. Why does it feel good? Because vulnerability triggers oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Even one-sided vulnerability can create a temporary sense of closeness. Your brain interprets that chemical shift as safety, relief. But here's the mental model. Connection has two phases, exposure and regulation. Exposure feels bonding. Regulation determines safety. If exposure happens too fast, regulation can't keep up. So later, your nervous system swings back from openness to protection. That's the regret. You don't stop oversharing by becoming colder. You change the timing. Here's how. 1. Pause before depth. What to do? When you feel the urge to reveal something deeply personal, pause for 5 seconds. Why it works? This gives your prefrontal cortex time to regulate the emotional impulse coming from the amygdala. You shift from reaction to choice. Example, instead of sharing your entire relationship trauma, you say, I've had some complicated experiences with that. You test the bridge before placing the next plank. 2. Match vulnerability levels. What to do? Only share at the depth the other person is sharing. Why it works? Social psychology shows humans build trust through reciprocal self-disclosure. Balanced exchange activates safety signals in both brains. Example, if they talk about work stress, you share work stress, not childhood abandonment. You build evenly. 3. Tolerate small talk discomfort. What to do? Let simple conversations exist without forcing depth. Why it works? Your brain learns that ambiguity is survivable. Repeated exposure lowers amygdala reactivity. Example: weather talk feels boring, but boredom isn't danger. Your nervous system recalibrates. 4. Separate intimacy from speed. What to do? Remind yourself, fast connection is not deep connection. Why it works? This reframes the dopamine hit you get from intensity. You stop mistaking chemical rush for emotional safety. Example: just because someone knows your secrets doesn't mean they've earned access to them. Trust grows through consistency, not confession. Think of connection like breathing. Inhale, you open up. Exhale, you assess safety. Oversharing is all inhale. No pause, no regulation. When you learn to alternate exposure and assessment, your nervous system relaxes. You don't need to perform depth. You let it unfold. You were never too much. You were trying to feel secure. Your brain used the fastest tool it had. But safety isn't built in one confession. It's built in steady presence. Next time you feel that urge to reveal everything, don't silence yourself. Just slow yourself. Let the bridge build gradually. And notice something subtle. When you don't rush intimacy, the right people stay long enough to earn it.